Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin.
I always thought I was the one who called the shots. That was the lie I told myself, the one I wore like armor. When I met Lucas, he was steady, like the ocean lapping gently at the shore, constant, dependable, and endlessly patient. He was a high school history teacher, the kind of man who'd spend hours helping a struggling student or planning a quiet weekend hike just to see me smile. His love was quiet, but it was deep, and for a while, I thought it was everything I needed. But somewhere along the way, I started craving chaos. Lucas's warmth felt suffocating, like a blanket I didn't want to wrap myself in anymore. I wanted sparks, not stability. That's when I met Caleb, a freelance photographer who lived for the moment. He was all sharp edges and reckless energy, with a grin that promised trouble and eyes that made me feel like I was the only woman in the room. Our connection was instant, electric, like stepping into a storm. It started innocently enough, a coffee here, a late-night chat there. But soon, I was sneaking out to meet Caleb, lying to Lucas about work events or girls' nights. I told myself it was harmless, that I could keep both worlds separate. Lucas would never suspect anything. He trusted me completely. I was invincible, or so I thought. I didn't realize how much I was gambling until the day it all unraveled. Lucas had been planning a surprise for my birthday, a weekend getaway to a cabin in the mountains, complete with a handwritten itinerary and a playlist of songs that reminded him of me. When he showed me the plans, his eyes lit up with that familiar warmth. I smiled, said all the right things. But inside, I was already thinking about Caleb's text from earlier, inviting me to a gallery opening. Guilt flickered, but I pushed it down, convinced I could have it all. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. I was out with Caleb at a crowded bar, laughing too loudly, when I caught a glimpse of Lucas across the room. He was there with a group of colleagues, his back to me, but I froze. I hadn't told him I'd be out that night. Caleb's arm was around my waist, and I felt my heart stop as Lucas turned, his eyes meeting mine for a split second. There was no anger in his gaze, no shock, just a quiet understanding that cut deeper than any words could. He didn't confront me. He didn't call or text. Instead, Lucas started to fade from my life, one small step at a time. He stopped asking about my day with the same enthusiasm. He didn't linger in the kitchen to talk over coffee anymore. I told myself it was nothing, that he was just busy. But then I saw him with Nora, a fellow teacher who radiated kindness and had a laugh that seemed to light up the room. They were at a local bookstore, browsing together, and the way Lucas smiled at her, it was like watching him come alive again, in a way I hadn't noticed he'd stopped doing with me. It hit me like a freight train. Lucas wasn't trying to hurt me or make me jealous. He was just moving on, effortlessly. I ended things with Caleb that night, realizing how hollow his promises were, how shallow the thrill had been. I tried to claw my way back to Lucas, planning dinners, leaving voicemails, even showing up at his favorite coffee shop, hoping to bump into him. But Lucas was different now. He was polite, always kind, but there was a wall between us, one I'd built with every lie. One evening, desperate to fix things, I asked him point blank, "Are you with her, Nora?" He looked at me, his eyes calm but unreadable, and said, "You don't get to ask that anymore, Emily." It wasn't cruel, just final. It was the moment I realized I'd lost him not to Nora, but to my own choices. Weeks later, I saw them together at a farmer's market. Lucas was carrying a bag of apples, teasing Nora about her terrible taste in jams, and she was laughing, her hand brushing his arm. I stood there, hidden behind a stall, feeling like an intruder in my own life. The love he gave so freely to her was the same love I'd thrown away, and it didn't even look like he was trying. He was just happy. I broke down that night and confessed everything, the affair, the lies, the betrayal. I thought maybe spilling my secrets would bring him back, even if it was just to fight with me. But Lucas just listened, his face unreadable, and when I was done, he said softly, "I'm sorry you felt you needed that. I hope you figure out why." Then he left. leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than any argument. A month later, his apartment was empty, except for a single note on the counter. I wish you peace, Emily. I need to find mine. I held that note until my hands shook, crying for the man I'd destroyed, for the life I'd shattered. Now, I hear Lucas and Nora are engaged. I see their photos online smiling at a vineyard, dancing at a friend's wedding, and it's like a knife twisting in my chest. Not because I hate her, but because she's giving him what I couldn't. Honesty, loyalty, love. I used to think I was irreplaceable, that Lucas would always be there, waiting for me to come back. But he didn't wait, and he didn't have to. His love for Nora isn't revenge. It's just what happens when you let go of someone who doesn't value you. The hardest lesson I've learned is that love doesn't linger for those who break it. Sometimes, the worst punishment is watching someone you betrayed find happiness without you, and realizing you were the one who wasn't enough.